$8,000. A Kubota dealer quoted that number to fix one compact tractor's transmission. The owner posts on Orange Tractor Talks as T. Shields. He bought a B26, and 1,600 hours in, the sealed transmission gave out. In his own words, quote, "They quoted me $8,000 to fix it. And it was no fluke." Same thread, same week, a second owner with an L35 took his machine to an independent shop that charges less than the Kubota dealer and still got, quote, a rough quote of $8,000 for everything out the door. Two owners, two different Kubotas, one number. The salesman never says that number out loud when you are the one standing at the counter about to sign. So why 8,000 and not 800? The size of your first big repair is not set by the badge on the hood. It is set by three things bolted underneath it. And the first one is a part the federal government made you buy the moment the machine crossed 25.5 horsepower. 25.48 to be exact. And here is the strange part. Rank every major brand by that first big repair, worst to best. And the machine that leaves you the smallest bill is not the brand you would guess. So let us build the ruler first, then rank them. Three things set the size of that first big bill. Number one, the filter. Every new tractor built over 19 kilowatts of power, the line we just crossed, has to carry a diesel particulate filter by federal rule. That figure comes straight from the emissions write-ups on Tractor by Net. The filter traps soot, and when it clogs for good, replacing it is a several $1,000 job. A machine built under that horsepower line never carries one, so it can never hand you that bill. Number two, the sealed transmission. Most compacts run a sealed hydrostatic unit. No drain plug, no filter you can reach, nothing a field mechanic can open on your property. That sealed box turned to Shields repair into $8,000. When it lets go, you are not fixing it in the barn. You are trailering it to a dealer at the dealer's rate. Number three, who is allowed to fix it, and how far the parts have to travel. On some machines, only the dealer is permitted to clear a failed cleaning cycle, and you cannot shop that labor around. On others, the one part you need ships from another continent. Score every brand on the filter, the transmission, and who holds the wrench. And the ranking almost writes itself. One ground rule before the count. Where an owner posted the dealer's own number, you get it to the dollar. Where the only figure the trade publishes is a range, you get the range. And I tell you it is a range. Nobody on this channel invents a repair bill. That is the whole job here. Take one number nobody prices for you at the lot, and trace it back to the part that sets it. If that is useful, subscribe, and you will not walk into a dealership blind again. Now before we rank a single badge, one kind of machine is not on this list at all, because it breaks the scale. The gray market import. These are used tractors built for another country and shipped here without the maker's blessing. On those, the first big bill has no ceiling, because the maker will not sell you a part. Yanmar puts it in writing on its own notice. The company, quote, will not knowingly supply replacement parts for gray market units, and there is no warranty from Yanmar on them either. Owners have hit this wall. One gray market owner on Tractor by Net described dealers blocked from ordering the part once its status was known. When the first big thing breaks on a machine like that, you are not comparing quotes. You are paying a machinist to cut the part from raw billet, and the bill is bounded only by your wallet. That is its own video. For today, just know it exists and steer around it. So we start the ranking at number 5, the worst documented first bill on this list, and it belongs to the badge with the deepest loyalty in the class. Kubota. That orange paint has earned a real name for lasting, and buyers pay extra for it on purpose. Give it that. But the biggest single documented first repair in this research is the one you already heard. Shields' B26 at 1,600 hours, and a second owner's L35 at 1,830. Both sealed hydrostatic transmissions. Both quoted $8,000 in the same thread, in the same week. That is decoder factor number 2 doing the damage. The sealed box does not care what color the machine is painted. and the premium you paid at the lot did not buy you out of it. When the hydro on a loaded compact lets go, the number runs 4 figures deep no matter whose name is on the hood, and Kubota just has the 2 clearest quotes on record, one at a dealer and one below it. Quick question, if you have lived this. What did that first big one cost you? And what badge was on the hood when the bill came? Drop it in the comments. I read them, and the pattern in there is its own buyer's guide. Number 4. John Deere. And the case for Deere is genuine. There's a real reason so many owners will not shop anything but green. That much is true. But that same green machine carries 2 of the expensive factors at once. Cross that horsepower line and it carries the particulate filter, so it owns the several $1,000 filter exposure like every loaded tractor. And Deere adds a second lock the others do not advertise. Deere's own dealer network documents 3 levels of that cleaning cycle. The automatic one runs on its own. The parked one you can start yourself holding a button for 5 seconds while the engine revs up to 2,200 revolutions per minute. But the third level, recovery, is dealer only. Ignore the light too long, the machine derates itself, and a named John Deere dealer, Reisterer and Schnell, spells it out on its own service page. Quote, "A recovery regeneration procedure by a John Deere dealer is required." Required, and there is no way around that word. On that day, you cannot shop the labor, you tow it to Deere, and you pay Deere's rate. And one thing has to be said straight. That same sealed hydrostatic transmission sits under a green machine too. This research turned up no posted Deere quote to put a number on it. Deere ranks 1 rung above Kubota for a single reason that has nothing to do with the hardware. Kubota has an owner's $8,000 quote posted in black and white, and Deere has no such receipt in the record. Big machine, big filter, and a dealer holding the only key. Number 3. Mahindra. And this one has earned a fair hearing, because value is the whole Mahindra promise. More tractor for your money, and for a lot of buyers, that promise holds up on the day they sign. No argument there. But the day the fuel injection pump goes, the value math turns on you, because that pump is where a Mahindra bites hardest. On one Mahindra, Spencer Diesel lists a rebuilt injection pump at over $2,600, with a $2,000 core charge on top of that. On another Mahindra, an online retailer of genuine Mahindra parts, lists a brand new pump north of $2,800 before a single wrench turns. Rebuilt or new, the pump alone runs past $2,600. And that pump does not sit on a shelf at every county dealer. Spencer Diesel is a diesel injection specialist, and Mahindra's parts come mail order, so decoder factor 3, distance, stacks on top of the price. Those are part prices, not the finished bill. You saved on the badge at the lot, and the pump hands the savings back. Number 2, and this is where the ranking starts paying the buyer back, New Holland's Workmaster utility line. Here is a tractor big enough to need emissions gear, well over that horsepower line, that still ducks the worst first bill on purpose. New Holland says so on its own product page. The Workmaster hits its emissions target with a diesel oxidation catalyst and exhaust gas recirculation, and in the company's own words, quote, "No diesel particulate filter and no regeneration. There is no filter to clog, no cleaning cycle to fail, and no dealer holding the only key to it. The single most expensive first bill driver, engineered out of the machine by design." That is the proof of this whole video in one line of a spec sheet. Change the hardware and the first bill collapses, whatever the badge on the hood says. The catch, and it is a real one, is that New Holland does not publish a repair price a buyer can find before signing. So you are trading a known filter risk for a dealer you still have to take on faith. And notice what just happened. Every rung so far has been a badge. Kubota, John Deere, Mahindra, New Holland. We have been ranking the wrong thing all along, because the machine with the smallest first bill never shows up on a badge list. You have to read the spec sheet to find it. Number 1. The machine that hands you the smallest first big repair on this entire list is not a brand at all. It is a line on the spec sheet. Any compact tractor built under that horsepower line qualifies. Stay under 25.48, and by federal rule there is no particulate filter on the machine at all. No filter to replace, no cleaning cycle to fail, no dealer-only recovery to pay for. The whole several $1,000 emissions exposure is never installed. And here is the part that should change how you shop. The clearest example of that machine wears the same orange badge sitting at the bottom of this list. The Kubota L2501. Kubota rates its little 3-cylinder diesel at 24.8 horsepower, which lands it just under the line where the filter rule begins. Its own spec sheet lists mechanical fuel injection, the old kind, an electric engine stop mechanism, no particulate filter, no emissions fluid to buy, and no engine computer to throw a code. And there's a second saving hidden in that spec sheet. No computer means no failed sensor to lock the tractor down, and no dealer-only reset to buy your way out of. So what does the first big repair look like on a machine like that? When that engine stop mechanism fails, the fix is a solenoid. Messix, a high-volume Kubota dealer, lists the genuine part on the shelf at about $160, as little as $30 on the aftermarket. And you bolt it on yourself in about 15 minutes. 4 steps: pull a cover, unplug one connector, take off 2 nuts, slide the new one on. Look at what the badge just did. The same orange paint sits at number 5 with an $8,000 transmission, and at number 1 with a $160 part you fit in your own shed. Nothing about the badge changed between those two machines. Everything about the bill was decided on the spec sheet. Now, say you have already bought the loaded machine, the one with the filter. You are not out of moves, and one move here saves you the most money. When that particulate filter fails, the dealer quotes you a brand new one, and a new filter canister runs about $2,200 for the part alone. But that same failed filter can be shipped out, cleaned, and remanufactured, and a reman unit you source yourself runs about $800. Same machine, same soot, same repair. It is the same failure either way. The only variable is who you let touch it. The gap between those two numbers is about $1,400, decided by one thing: whether you let the dealer sell you new or you find the reman part yourself. $1,400 for one call instead of one signature. So let us take that $8,000 number we opened with and turn it into something you can use at the dealership. Before you sign, you ask 3 questions, and they are the same 3 factors we scored all day. 1. Is this machine over 25.5 horsepower, and does it carry a particulate filter? Yes or no. 2. Can anyone but the dealer service the transmission and clear the emission system? 3. Where do the parts ship from and how long do they take? Ask those 3 and you will know the size of that first bill before it lands, while you can still walk to another machine on the lot. The salesman will price the tractor for you all afternoon. He will never once price the first repair. That part is on you now. So before you count the horses under the hood, count what it costs the day the first big one breaks. That number is your real price.